I had some good thoughts. Well, some of it was related to like how I was surfing, and it was like the analogous thought of like how I'm making this drop or how I'm trying to navigate this. Like I'm looking down the line of this wave. That's why I wanted you to capture that, like almost like coming behind me and following me down the wave to see what I see as I see like the different boils where the rocks are underneath the water, and I have to navigate above and then go down low, go around a rock, go above a rock, ride the lip of the wave. You saw that one where I went too much into the lip and then I flew in the air and landed? Do you remember that one? And yeah, I was just thinking of the analogies of life. It's like you have anyone who's going to go after anything, any young person who wants to pursue success, any person that's going to really go for it, you just have you have all these landmines. Just like when I was surfing along the promenade, when I was surfing with all the rocks and the blocks and everything, you're going to have to navigate all these obstacles, these little landmines. And a lot of people just go, there's a bunch of landmines, and so they just like today, like people don't paddle out because they see all the rocks, right? That little kid who charged, 13-year-old, he wore a helmet. So it's like, he's like, I am going to paddle out, but I'm going to, take some safety precautions. Well, it's the same thing with investing. It's like when you make choices in business and you take calculated risk, you're going to face some dangers. You're going to face some landmines. And the reality is that's just a part of life. So to avoid those or to not go for it, you're really just telling yourself, like you've actually determined I'm gonna fail before you even tried, right? You want it. So remember, I always think with probability. I would tell myself, do I want to 100% probability fail, or do I want to approach this just like the wave? Do I want to approach it and take off and figure out, can I ride the right line to avoid all these rocks, these obstacles, and make it to the other side and be successful? Do I want to try to learn how to navigate this? Because every different investment and business opportunity, you are going to have some unforeseen difficulties or obstacles or challenges. So the rock is going to pop up and you got to navigate around it. So much is that aspect of adaptability. So you have to have the drive, the ambition, the go for it attitude. Then you have to have the adaptability to handle what comes your way. So for example, a lot of people would say with investing, it's like, come up with a thesis. What's your thesis? Like, what are you, what's the basic idea behind the investment that you're going to make? So if you look at myself, and like earlier we were with a friend and we were driving back from some properties that you're all gonna see that we may invest in, and he was saying, "Oh, Kristjan, are you investing in Bitcoin?" And people ask me, "Oh, if you invest in a lot of things, are you investing in Bitcoin? Are you investing in gold? Are you investing in startup companies? Like, what else are you doing?" And the reality is I'm evaluating all opportunities that come my way and taking calculated risks with the things that I'm comfortable with. I'm going to take the third exit at the roundabout. So, point being, when I was out in the water, we're trying to capture some content, some video footage of those waves, and I was like literally intentionally surfing extra close to the rocks to be able to visually show you guys, look, you can navigate these challenges. You can take on the rocks. You can navigate and get around them. It takes some experience and skill. It's the same thing in business. And so, in my opinion, for example, like, I prefer to invest in things that inspire or that I love. Like, we go to these properties and I just feel so good at that property. And I was talking to someone and they said, "Man, I'd spend $1 million on this." And I said, "I wouldn't. As much as I feel inspired and love that property, it's not worth $1 million. It's worth the price that the market would bear on that given day right? That's what it's worth in objective reality. And then for me, what it's worth is, what can I rent this out for? And is that something that fits within my thesis for what I want to invest in? So I don't know if this is something that needs to be edited out later or not yet, because we might share this with those who are subscribers. But here's the reality. I invest in prime property almost 99% of the time close to the ocean or right on the ocean, with at least an 8% net return. That means the gross income minus the expenses, what's left over that I can put in my pocket, is an 8% return or more. Okay, so that's just my basic thesis. Now, can I decide for certain good reasons to make an adjustment or adapt to a marketplace where I might have to go a little bit lower than 8%? Sure, but I try to stick to that. And if I stick to that and I even overachieve that, then things go well, and they have gone well. So the other thing is that if my personal desire for that property, like my feelings are so strong, I'll let myself make a slight adjustment, because it's not just for myself. I know that if I feel that strong, after looking at thousands and thousands of properties, if I feel that strong emotionally when I'm at that property, I know I have absolute confidence the marketplace will feel strong, which means it's more rare than another property, which means people with money, like around here, we were having a talk with a friend, and actually two friends were talking about these different Russian buyers of property and how they have a lot of money and they make decisions for the property in some ways very businesslike, but in some ways very emotionally, meaning if they feel very strong, they will pay extra and they want to secure it. That's a lot like the Bay Area. That's a lot like Hawaii. That's a lot like prime places. When people have real cash, they pay extra for what they know is rare. And that's what creates the marketplace. And so let me tie this back to a previous video and something I just reiterate with you kids, especially my kids, when I say you kids. If inefficiencies in the marketplace are where the opportunities lie, and you want to be like an alligator lying in wait in the water, ready to pounce on those opportunities. That's how you want to be, right? You want to be patient, but ready to strike, ready to make the decision, because sometimes with great opportunities, they're there for a moment. They're not there for months and months and months. You got to make a fast decision. But if you've already mentally gone through the exercises and created your thesis, and then you have an ability over time, realistically, but you have an ability to assess the risk that might lay before you. Like if you're buying a property and you look at how it's constructed and you look at certain aspects. I'll just give you a classic example. Certain materials will rust like that in front of the ocean. Well, what if the previous owner or the builder used the wrong material? This happens a lot. I mean, one of my oceanfront properties, there are rusty nail holes like all over the place. Like the person used the wrong nail, right? And that's annoying to fix when they're in quite a few locations, okay? Doesn't mean I necessarily won't buy the thing, but what it means is it's like that's just one of those potential mistakes or pitfalls that you could face. You got to calculate what would the cost be to rectify that problem, right? And many other examples, but when I'm visualizing using this analogous way of thinking, which I think is very helpful for all of us. Now, I do recognize that not everyone thinks analogously, but I think it's helpful. What that means is you take something that you do for fun or you do in your life, and you create like analogies. Like what I do here in surfing is very analogous. It's very similar to what I do in investing. And so that you're able to meditate and train your mind and kind of condition your mind to treat the things you're doing for fun like the things you do in business. And what happens is you blend together this mindset and this joy, this experience that you have surfing or whatever you do for fun with the way you do your business. So for me, I think of my business like I'm riding waves, like I'm seeking out the right wave and the right line to catch, right? There's patience in surfing. You're waiting for the right wave to catch the right ride that gives you the highest joy, the greatest return on the investment of time that you put in the water. Well, that's exactly the same thing you're doing with an investment. With an investment, you're investing time, research, energy, and then money, right, to have a return on that investment. And that return could be as simple as money. It could also be money plus your enjoyment, like the properties that we're going to show you that we just looked at. I'm looking at that as a great money investment as well as a great family lifestyle investment, right? You'd concur that would be a good family lifestyle investment, right? Yeah, it definitely would. So, you know, recapping, bringing it back, calculated risks, you know, analogous thinking, and recognizing that you're gonna have to take risks. Try to calculate and anticipate the risks and do your best to adapt to them. And when things come out of left field or that rock appears in the face of the wave and you didn't know it was gonna be there, then hey, when you gotta bail, land flat, try not to hit the rock, move your, you know, adapt. That's what that means. That's the analogy. Like, you got to adapt. It's like if your project gets stopped, okay, switch gears, say, okay, is there a way for me to generate cash flow on this property while I wait for the government to give a permit or for whatever issue to be resolved? I can't tell you, with real estate, that's happened to me, I want to say at least 5 times, having to adapt to the change in the timeline on the project. And this is why my thesis continues to evolve. Like, part of my thesis now is I prefer to buy things, like, let's say I want to buy a property like I am right now. I'm buying a property that has a house, has a development project to do an 18 unit apartment building, but I'm buying it for a pretty penny, but it's by the beach in California, and I'm buying it for that development opportunity. But while I'm waiting for that permit, and I'm gonna probably make some changes to the project, I'm actually generating cash flow on the house through vacation rental that's already there. So my thesis, like I said, to go back to it, is to try to generate 8% return on prime properties, which for a host of other reasons is all short-term rental, largely due to I don't want liability. I want to keep my properties in pristine condition, and I'm required to do that with the short-term rental because everyone's paying a pretty penny to stay there. They want it in pristine condition. So it's part of my business model that I'm going to spend quite a bit through the cleaners, through the handyman, through maintenance schedules, through the landscaping, to keep it in pristine condition, to get that top cash flow that I can get to achieve my thesis, which is at least an 8% net return. So those are the properties those are the investments that's my favorite investment. Now there's other investments, but right now I just want to let you know that you kind of fall in love with, like, at least hopefully one of your investments, and it becomes kind of the main thing that you do. And you can try out different things, but I'm just telling you from personal experience, and that's all I can really do, that the joy and the satisfaction and how good your life is dealing with these kinds of properties that I'm talking about, I really don't see anything else out there in life that I could be doing that would be more enjoyable. So get out there, make it happen. Click the like button, click the subscription button, get ready for the courses that are coming. Looking to bless all of you out there. I'm primarily doing this for my kids to have a series of videos, but I know this can bless many of you others, and hopefully this can lead into courses and other ways I can bless you guys in the specifics of making this stuff happen. So may the Lord bless you, keep you, and make his face shine upon you. Cheers.